What's good, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today you're talking sports with MG Nas. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we got a little bit of Sixers playoff talking today. I won't be alone. We'll be joined by my special guest. So, without further ado, before we get into some basketball talk, let's introduce our special guest today, my guy MK. Ladies and gentlemen, you go check out his channel. Link down below will be in the description. How you doing today, my guy?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Got a video out today. I was on another podcast, then I had work. Now I'm here. So
Yes.
it's been a long day, but hey, let's get talking about Sixers, man. I'm excited.
Yes, sir, man. This is gonna be interesting, man. We already know who our playoff matchup is, so we get to talk about that. We get to talk about other things and many more. So let's get right into this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I want to get into the playoff stuff, I just gotta ask you a question because I already know how I feel about it, but I want to get your opinion. Is Embiid the MVP this season? The regular season is finally over. Did he do enough to get this award?
Yes, he did more than enough. I mean, it's self-explanatory. The guy's a scoring champ with 30.6 points per game. I mean, the last time to do that was Shaquille O'Neal. I mean,
Yep.
come on. What else does this guy have to do to get the nod? Please, someone explain to me. Please. The record is
Yeah.
better whenever he's not on the floor. We suck. We're like a below a G League team whenever he's not on the goddamn floor.
Exactly.
So for me, it's just like, give this guy the award already, but they're going to give it to Jokic. It's
Yeah.
common sense at this point.
Yeah, I think it will go to Jokic, but I agree. I mean, I don't know what Embiid has to do anymore. I mean, the dude leads the league in 40 and 10 games. He leads the league in scoring. He when he's off the court, this team is just not good. I mean, he has one of the best plus minus rates for a reason. I mean, it's just insane. But I don't think that the voters and the media will be giving him the MVP. I don't know why, but you can just kind of get the feeling that it's probably going to go to Jokic once again. And Jokic is an amazing player. Like, I don't want to get that twisted, but I just think the things that Joel Embiid has been doing, especially this season, dealing with the Ben Simmons stuff, dealing with other things, I just feel like he deserved it. But who knows? Maybe he gets it, maybe he doesn't, but we will see what happens. But now I want to get into the playoff stuff. How will James Harden play in the playoffs? This is going to be a big question mark. What do you think about this?
Now, for me, this is how I feel about it. He's got to show up. People keep on telling me, like, he doesn't show up, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that, and stuff like that. They're right to an extent, but this is when they got to shut the people up and, score buckets because the last couple of games he wasn't really shooting that well. He's been struggling here and there. So I'm like, please. I don't want Harden to become the third option. I want him to be the second option, have Maxi the third, Tobias fourth, like that, and have
Hmm.
James Harden be like the James Harden that we know back in Houston.
Hmm. Yeah, and I agree, man. If he can play just aggressive too, and I think the big my one of my biggest issues with Harden is not necessarily him not shooting well, because yeah, he's had some bad performances, but it's being aggressive. He's been a little bit too passive. Now, obviously, we already know what a passive point guard looks like. Our previous guy, number 25, literally passes up dunks with like midgets defending him. But even though Harden, he's still putting up 20 points a game, he still finds his way to get his 20 points. But the 14 and 15 assist stuff is cool. But in order for us to win a title and maximize what this team can be, Harden has to be aggressive night in and night out. I remember against the Milwaukee Bucks, Harden had a 32-point performance, still had a decent amount of assists. That's the version of James Harden we're gonna need every night. But so we got Big Play Slay in the chat, we got Brendan in the chat. But if we're going to truly win a championship, it's gonna have to be because James Harden and Joel Embiid is putting up amazing scoring numbers every night. Not just Joel Embiid, not just this guy and that guy. And I agree. I want Harden to be the number two because that means Maxi can be the number three. Tobias Harris has found his role more and more as the later season has progressed. So, and I want to talk about him in a little bit, but James Harden needs to be aggressive, scoring the basketball if we want to win the championship. And I think he will. I think he will be aggressive, but hopefully, he is. So I gotta ask this next question because it kind of annoys me because
Okay.
of the head coach we kind of have here. Um, is there any chance that Doc Rivers will play Paul Reed over DeAndre Jordan at any point?
Did
Will
you
this
watch
ever
my
happen?
video today? I did a video on Doc Rivers' comments on Paul Reed and his rant, and I basically was just saying I was breaking it down like Paul Reed right now is better than DeAndre Jordan, but the only reason he's going to play DeAndre Jordan right now is because he's a veteran, he's a leader for the bench, etc., all that stuff.
Mhm,
But honestly, Paul Reed, if you look at the last 3 games, he's been balling out, man. And think about this, right? Paul Reed,
mhm,
the only reason he's been playing is because DeAndre Jordan got that flagrant 2. And
mhm,
once you have that flagrant 2, you're out for 1 to 2 games. So
mhm.
that's the only reason Paul Reed got his minutes. Because if
Yep.
DeAndre Jordan did not get that flagrant 2, he would not have even stepped on the court. I just hate saying that, but it's just common sense at this point. And Doc Rivers basically saying like he's been here forever, like he knows what he's talking about. He did say that he will have Paul Reed in small ball 5 when they have their small guy center. I forget who it is, Boucher, I
Mhm.
think.
Boucher.
But
Yep.
it's just like it's not gonna happen. It's just not gonna happen at the end of the day. He deserves to be gone at the after this playoff run.
Mhm. Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, d- we have if we genuinely want to compete, especially with younger, more athletic teams, I feel like we have to play Paul Reed. But unfortunately, with the head coach we have, and the doc said it himself yesterday. He thinks he's been here long enough. He thinks he knows so much that he will do the right thing. And in his eyes, the right thing is playing DeAndre Jordan. But like when we're going in, when we're in a series against Toronto, and they're playing with energy. I mean, look at the last game we had against the Raptors a few days ago. A lot of energy, right? Just it was just so much that the Raptors brought to the table. Slow DeAndre Jordan is not going to match the energy and the intensity that the Raptors can bring. But a guy like Paul Reed, who's been hungry for minutes and who wants to go out there and prove himself, he's gonna be able to match what the Raptors can bring. So I don't know. Doc Rivers, if he somehow sees this, please just reconsider this. We don't play until Saturday. We have a few days to think about this. Please reconsider playing Paul Reed because I know we've all watched almost every game of the Sixers this year, and what we've seen from Paul Reed and what we've seen from DeAndre Jordan. I think our best chance of having a successful backup center currently is definitely playing Paul Reed more minutes. So,
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I mean, Paul Reed is just amazing. A G League champion, a G League MVP. And I actually forgot to say this in my video, but I'll say it now. He shut down Giannis. He was blocking Giannis left and right. And
hmm
remember when he had Paul Millsap?
yep.
Paul freaking Millsap on Giannis, and Giannis scored 17 straight. I'm like, you put in the wrong Paul, Doc. You put in the wrong Paul. But end of the day, Paul Reed's got to get minutes. Him, Isaiah Joe, Charles Bassey, they got to get minutes. But
hmm
end of the day,
Yeah, and just real quick before we move on, I forgot to to include Charles Bassey in this conversation because Charles Bassey actually is a little bit bigger than what Paul Reed is. So, if anything, if you want, Doc was talking about a small ball lineup and a big lineup. If you want a guy who can play against bigger bigs, Charles Bassey was able to guard Nikola Jokic that one game Embiid was out and did pretty well in the second half. So, um, I just think Doc has to just like I said, we got a few days, man. Just reconsider playing the young guys, man. Just
yeah.
please play the young guys, and you know, I don't think he will, but hopefully he does. Um, and
He
we'll see
won't.
what happens. But another thing that will happen kind of yesterday and a few days is Matisse Thybulle, with his whole situation and playing in Toronto. Could losing him for game 3 and 4 cost us the series, or is this not as big of a loss as some people are making it to be?
I don't think it's that big of a loss because he's struggling on offense. Like he's not making any buckets.
Mhm,
Sure, he's been scoring double digits as of late, but it's not consistent. He actually put Doc Rivers made a great move, and I can't believe I have to say this. He started Doc Rivers started Doc Rivers. Jesus Christ.
mhm.
Doc Rivers started Danny Green over Matisse Thybulle because the offensive side of the ball.
Mhm.
And Danny Green, that corner three, it goes in like majority of the time. So
Mhm.
if Danny Green is the X factor and he can make his shots, that is key. Because for the defensive side, we've seen this before with number 25. Like it's
Mhm.
4-on-5 basketball whenever Thibault's on the floor on the offensive side. It scares me a little bit. It really does. So for me, it's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's not as big of a deal. The only thing that could be big is that if Fred Van Vliet has a great game, which is their best guard, that could hurt us a little bit because Thibault is good at defending the three. But sometimes too, and I love Matisse Thybulle. I'm actually one of his biggest fans. But even defensively, as great as he can get in foul trouble. When Danny Green's a veteran, he plays a little bit more composed, gets a little bit less fouls. So I don't think it's going to be as big of a loss, but I do think in certain situations it could hurt us. But I mean, as long as we got Joel Embiid and James Harden, the Sixers are going to be in mostly every playoff game they play in this year. But I do think in certain situations it could be a big loss, and you know, we'll see what happens. But
Yeah.
next, has Tobias Harris found his role going into the playoffs? Has he officially found his spot in this offense?
So for me, right, it
Hmm.
just he's just I call him to buy ass because majority of the season he's been ass. So
Hmm.
it's just like it fits, but he's been on a nice run as of late. He has, but this last
Hmm.
game he sucked. This last game against Detroit, he freaking sucked. So that
Hmm.
scares me a little bit. So I know people are saying he's got to take a step back here and there, but
Hmm.
once you're making that kind of money, it's like, dude, you got to be at least the third option here, put up the points and stuff like that. So for me, it looks like he found his role. I just need to see more consistency
Hmm.
from him. That's it.
Yeah. See, Tobias Harris has been okay as of late, I should say. The Pistons game, it's just like, all right, come on, bro. Like seriously, like you could argue. I mean, obviously Maxi this year, but Tobias Harris was yesterday was supposed to be our best player on the court, right? Especially coming into this year and what he's getting paid. The fact that he only has 6 points in like 25 minutes, bro, come on. This is like that was the perfect game for Tobias Harris to catch fire going into the playoffs. But outside of the Pistons game, I think he's starting to slowly find his role. And what some of the players on the team has been saying, and I think is true, he's finally just letting the ball fly. He's not dribbling extra times. He's not, hesitating. He's just letting the ball fly. He's just shooting it. Now, whether he makes or misses it, that's another discussion. But Tobias Harris is finally just letting the ball go. He's not holding onto it, and I think that's gonna be good. And that's gonna be a big key. So, uh, we'll see what happens there with Tobias, but hopefully that he knows his role, and hopefully,
He just got to catch and shoot. That's
yeah, just
it.
just catch and
He
that's
just got
all
to
you have
catch
to
and
do.
shoot. I don't care where you are on the floor. Whoever gives you the ball, catch and shoot. That's
Hmm.
it. Or
Yeah,
maybe
because
get to your sweet spot on the elbow.
yeah,
But other
because
than
the
that,
more he
no.
dribbles the ball, you just know something bad is about to happen. You just know, you can just feel it. But we got to talk about Doc Rivers again. Will Doc Rivers cost us the series versus the Raptors, or will we be completely fine?
Well, this is how I feel like, anyways. If we get eliminated by Toronto, he's gone no matter what.
Yes.
So it's just like, will he cost us the series? I can see that because based on rotations. If I see an all bench lineup, if I see that, I'm gonna lose my mind. And guys, I'm doing a play-by-play for every Sixers game. I think you're
Yes,
doing
sir.
it as well too. Maybe
Mm-hmm.
we can do one together. Who knows? But
Yep.
it's just like, dude, Doc Rivers at the end of the day, he's not. He's overrated. He's an overrated coach, and I can see him costing us the series, and I can also see some players costing us the series, like Tobias
Mm-hmm.
Harris or the bench. So for me, it's like 50-50, but I can totally see Doc costing us the series. I can see it.
Yeah, I can see it as well. Now, I think we will be fine, at least for the first round. At least for the first round. But you said something in your point, and it just makes me so mad. The all bench lineup.
Yeah.
Dude, every time I see it, man, I just because how many times do you have to learn your lesson, right? It's like it's like in life, right? We all make mistakes, But it comes to a certain point where you have to learn from them, right? It comes to a certain point where you have just to learn. When will he ever learn that it doesn't work? It never does. It never has. If someone can go find me one situation where the all bench lineup has worked, I will give you anything valuable I ever have. You can have my house. You can have anything because the all bench lineup just doesn't work. But I think we will be okay. I think we will be okay. I hope that I'm right, but I think Nick Nurse, he's a good coach. He's outcoached Doc Rivers a few times in the regular season. If it happens again, it's gonna hurt. But you know, like I said, we'll see. But Doc Rivers, please, man, no all bench lineup and give Paul Reed a chance.
Hmm.
But next question, it's about some of the bench, one of the bench players. And it's gonna be about George Niang. It's gonna be
Hmm.
about George Niang. Will he shoot well versus the Raptors? Will George Niang have a great shooting series versus the Raptors? We know what his role is in this offense. Will he shoot the ball effectively this series?
I gotta see it. I mean, we've seen him go off time and time again, and there's some nights where he can't make a bucket. So for me, it's just like I gotta see it because game one he could go off, game two he could not, game three he could go off, game four he can go off, game five he could not.
Hmm.
So it's just like the type of game he's having. I mean, that's the whole problem with this bench is the lack of consistency. That's the
Hmm.
problem with this bench. And don't even get me
Agreed.
started on court match. I'm just saying that.
I think Niang will play all right. Niang is a like he's a guy. He is a hot and cold guy, but I believe he is our most effective shooter coming off the bench. And it's gonna lead a little bit into my next question, but I think Niang, for us to win road games, I think he has to give us a little bit of a spark. He has to
Hmm.
kind of give us those quality bench minutes because Toronto, their bench, we haven't they've really played Siakam heavy minutes last game. So we really haven't seen how deep they can go into their bench. But if our bench is outplaying theirs, and if our bench is doing more than anything their bench is doing, and it's going to start with George Niang, and I think he will show up. I feel like home games, the bench just shows up more. They're saying that role players show up at home, but I feel like on the road, uh, in a hostile environment, we've had a series in Toronto, so we know how this goes. We are gonna need someone to give us a spark, a guy who can just knock down a few shots, kind of silence the crowd, and I think George is gonna have that kind of series. So I think he will play well, and George Niang, man, I'm counting on him to show up because the rest of this bench is the rest of this bench is kind of inconsistent. So
Well, I'm just going to tell you right now, it's going to be an 8-man rotation. I'm seeing that right now. It's Niang, Middleton, Jordan. That's it. Those are the
yeah,
last three. Those are the only three I can see. And if he puts Paul Reed in there instead of DeAndre Jordan, I'll be more than happy. I just don't see it.
hmm all right. I got a question. This is gonna go a little bit deeper into the bench. Now
Okay.
we shouldn't go too deep into the bench, but if we do, who deserves more playoff minutes? Korkmaz or Isaiah Joe?
Here's the funny thing, right?
Hmm.
If you guys know me, I was the biggest Korkmaz fan. I was like the biggest Korkmaz fan. Like I loved him. You guys would see my tweets like Korkmaz will go off. I would be that guy. And
Hmm.
then it's just like goose egg after goose egg after goose egg after goose egg. And I made this video like Korkmaz stinks. I'm done. Like
Hmm.
especially off the Korkmaz bandwagon. And people are like, Mitch, you've been on a Korkmaz bandwagon for as long as I can remember. I'm like, dude, I can't take it anymore. I just can't. So give me Isaiah Joe over Furkan Korkmaz. But honestly, I don't think either one is going to play unless it's like a big blowout, like a 15 to 20 point blowout.
Hmm.
And if we don't blow leads. So that's another thing as well.
Yeah. The answer to this question is Isaiah Joe, 10 more times, 20, 50 more times Isaiah Joe. And I know a lot of people haven't seen Joe play that much. And this is another thing that a problem I kind of have with Doc Rivers is that Korkmaz, he's one of the guys. He's been here for what, 4 or 5 years, I believe.
Something
Other
like
than
that.
Embiid, he's been here the second longest out of anyone on the roster. Embiid's been here for like 8, 9 years, obviously, but Korkmaz has been here the second longest on the roster. So he's a guy, he knows the offense, knows the team, but it's just sometimes with those guys, they just don't deserve to play anymore. They just don't deserve minutes anymore. And when you look at Isaiah Joe, he's a young guard. He has some good shooting range too. He's not just a guy who shoots right at the 3-point line. He can step it back a few steps behind the line and still knock it down. And when Isaiah Joe gets in rhythm, I think he's a great shooter, and he could be one of the best shooters, if not the best shooter on our bench, if we give him enough opportunities. But um, it just has to be Isaiah Joe. I don't think any of them will get minutes, but if Shake Milton gets hurt, or if we are winning by a lot, which the Sixers winning by a lot, that doesn't always end well. But if this opportunity presents itself, I think you have to give Isaiah Joe some minutes, because I think Isaiah Joe does have something to provide for this team. I think he does have something to provide. And I just think that Doc and the coaching staff has to give him a chance. And that's another thing about Doc Rivers I want to say real quick, and the coaching staff. Does Sam Cassell or Dan Burke have any input? Because I feel like Sam Cassell is a great basketball mind. I feel like he has a great IQ for the game. And I think Dan Burke did well when he did have opportunities this year to coach for us. I want to know if they see the same things that Doc is seeing, and they see that, Paul Reed doesn't get enough minutes, or this happens, and they say, you know what, Doc, we agree. That's honestly one of my biggest questions when it comes to these things, because Doc Rivers is one man, but it is also a coaching staff. So that's just one other thing I want to know, is that what goes on in those coaching meetings and stuff like that when they're discussing this.
To me, they don't have the balls or the cojones to step up to Doc.
Hmm.
They do not. They had Sam Cassell work on shooting with Ben Simmons, and look what that happened. They had Dan Burke, who I think should be the head coach right now. But honestly, I'm probably going to take Cassell. If we're talking about Doc Rivers getting fired, I could see a
Hmm.
couple people being the head coach. First one, Mike D'Antoni.
Hmm.
Second one, Mark Jackson. Third one, Dan Burke, or Sam Cassell. Fourth, Dan Burke. Those are the top four.
Yeah.
But I definitely see Mike D'Antoni at number one. If
If
Doc
Doc
Rivers
gets
gets fired.
fired,
If
I
Doc
want
gets
to see
fired, Mike
if Doc.
D'Antoni, lock it in.
Yeah, the only thing about D'Antoni is that his offense, in the way that it's so like shooter heavy. I wonder how Embiid will fit through that offense. But
Right.
Harden in the D'Antoni offense, we've seen he's been in it. He was an MVP last time he was in that kind of scene. So we'll see what happens. But my next question is gonna be about Tyrese Maxey. Will he
Mhm.
step up big in the playoffs? This is the first time he's gonna be a full-time starter in the playoffs. Will he step up big?
I say yes. Tyrese Maxey, whenever he's getting the opportunity, he's been working on his game. He's been improving. Like he's second place in 3-point percentage with 43%. Keep that in mind. He wasn't known as a 3-point shooter in the first year. He wasn't really known. He worked on his game. Now he's his second best 3-point shooter in this league behind Luke Kennard. And
Hmm.
that's just impressive. So with that being said, I like Tyrese Maxey to make a big impact. And who on their backcourt can actually guard him? Van Fleet, maybe. I don't even know who their point guard is now.
Van Vliet, baby. I don't know, Gary Trent Jr. I don't
Gary
some.
Trent, yeah, it's Van Fleet and Gary Trent.
Hmm.
Yeah, Gary Trent dropped 30 on us.
Yeah, but
It's,
defensively, I don't think Gary Trent can stop Tyrese Maxey.
I don't think any of them can. And I still can't believe we got him at 21. I
Hey,
still can't believe it.
the Heat took Precious Achua over him just to trade Precious Achua the next year.
Right,
And
I
it's
forgot about that.
funny how last time we played the Heat, Tyrese Maxey went absolutely insane. But
Right. Yeah. And you forgot about this, right?
hmm
Whenever remember when we played Denver and we had like
hmm
9 guys or 8 guys or something like that? Maxie went for 40
hmm
or something like that. So he can definitely step up. He has a Philly grit. I love Maxie. That's my next jersey I'm copping.
yo,
Is a
I
Maxie jersey. I can't cop it James Harden. I just can't.
I
Because I
can't
feel
yet,
like
not
after
yet.
next no, not just that. After next season, I
Hmm.
know Daryl Morey's going to give him an extension, but if it
Hmm.
were me, I'll trade him before the deadline. because then that contract's going to be huge.
That
That
contract
contract
in a
will be
few years.
huge, or maybe you just let him go at end of that year. So
Yeah, that's the thing. The harder contract, and I'll talk about that more after the season and in the off season, and we'll see how things go. But the extension that we're reported to give him, I mean, at the age of like 35, he's gonna be making like $40 million. But we'll get into that more in the off season when that presents itself. But I gotta ask a question that might lighten turn down the mood a little bit, but how many leads will the Sixers blow in the playoffs, if any? Now, a lot of you are asking, why are you kind of asking a negative question? Listen here, the Sixers are notoriously, rather we win or lose the game, we always let the team back in it before we actually start trying again in the fourth quarter. We always have to do it. We have to do it. 15-point lead against the Suns. Nope, you guys can have the lead again. We had a 10-point, 12-point lead against the Bucks. You guys can have it. Even against the Pacers, when Embiid had 40 the first time we played them last week, let them right back in it. How many leads do you think the Sixers will blow if they blow any, or how
I
many
can
leads?
definitely see them blowing leads. I just don't know how many. Like, are
Mhm.
you talking about like a big lead or like
Like
these
let's
small
say,
leads where
like
they
I
come
feel like a
back?
good lead in the playoffs is like a 10 to 15 point lead.
Then I could definitely see that. I just don't know how many. Like per,
Hmm.
I don't know how many, so that's like vague to me. But I could
Hmm.
definitely see them each game blow a big lead. I can see each game blowing a big lead because that's how bad Doc Rivers is with his rotations and his timeouts. It's
Hmm.
common freaking sense.
Yeah, yeah. I think we will blow some leads. Like I said, even when sometimes we blow leads, you do still end up winning the game. But it's just this. That's I feel like this has been one of our biggest problems all year because we know we have a good enough team in order to get the lead. We have a good enough team to have we've had big leads against great competition before, but it's just about keeping it. And I think at home we're gonna be great in the playoffs. I don't know why. I just feel like that. I feel like when the crowd is just in our favor, I feel like we'll show up. But I don't know. I feel like on the road we might blow a few leads as well. And it sucks to say because I hate saying this type of stuff against my own team, but it's just what it is. And
You
it's just
got to be realistic. You got to call it down the middle. That's what I've
Mhm.
been saying for like God knows how long.
Yeah, because
People may not like it, people may sub, but hey, at least you know what you're doing and what you're covering is right. As long as
exactly,
you know that, people will come and respect you.
and
Like
that's the
I've been
thing.
told, one
Hmm.
second, people have been DMing me, and it's like, Mitch, you called it right down the middle. I'm sorry that I left you. Like
Hmm.
I got that like a couple times this year,
Hmm.
and I'm like, see, I'm like, I call it. I hate calling it because it makes it predictable, but it's
Hmm.
just like you got to be a realistic fan, and that's how I am with like this whole Jalen Hurts thing and
Oh,
everything.
that yeah, that
Not going
situation.
into that, but I'm
Hmm.
just saying. For example, I'm not a Jalen Hurts big supporter. I'm not
Hmm.
a Jalen Hurts big hater, stuff like that. But I could see him having a big year this year.
Hmm.
So just saying that, like,
Hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, and I think the bottom line is, like I said, I hate to have a headline on my stream. How many leads will the Sixers blow? But that's just been one of our problems this year.
it's
We
gonna
have
be a big
50
problem for like
wins on the year.
years.
We could easily have like 57 wins if we didn't blow leads. Easily have
Facts,
like 57,
facts.
58 wins. It'd be the first seed in the East if we didn't blow leads. But like I said, we've had 10 to 15-point leads. I feel like if you're up 10 to 15 in a basketball game, especially if you're a playoff team like the Sixers are, you should be able to win. You shouldn't have to blow that. I feel like that comes because every team they're gonna have their runs in a game, they're gonna have their pushes. But if you're up 10 to 15 points like the Sixers have been in multiple games, and you blow them, I feel like that's a problem. So just wanted to ask you about that because I know you're the type of guy. You're gonna be realistic. You're not gonna, you know, let this team go away with any excuses. So I wanted
Right.
to ask you this specific question because you'll have fans out here, and there are Sixers fans that heavily biased and they just what the Sixers in four, Sixers in this, Sixers
Oh,
in that.
dude. Do you pay attention to TikTokers at all?
I've seen a lot of TikTokers.
Dude,
Yes.
dude, I try to stay away from that,
Mhm.
but it's just like, dude, sorry about that. It's like
Mhm.
someone's making dinner. But it's just like, dude, I can't take these takes. I can't. I watch it because I laugh. And I
Hmm.
comment at him like, dude, you're an idiot. Like, that's the only reason I watch them because they make stupid takes. That's the only reason I watch them.
Yeah, the
Except for like El Parcero,
yeah,
Kata Hot,
Carter Hyde
those
is
guys.
Carter Hyde has got
Like,
to
I
be.
love Kata Hot. I had him on
Yeah.
MK in the morning. I had uh Positive Philly on. I
Hmm.
had El Pasero Philly. He's
Hmm.
actually lives close to me. It's actually
Nice.
fun. It's
Yeah,
funny. So I can talk with those guys. I
those guys.
do, but it's just like I, these takes are like no. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
but no.
yeah. Carter Hyde, I got to get him on the show one day. He's a guy that
Just DM him. I'm
yeah,
telling you, just freaking DM him. He responds.
yeah.
He
He is one
responded.
of
El
the.
Pasero responds. They
Hmm.
all respond. That whole group. That whole clique.
Yeah, that
Positive
they
Philly, he comes on my channel all the time. You see him in the chats. Like he
all the
comes
time.
on all
Yeah,
the
yeah.
time.
Positive Philly's always there. But and those guys are great. And man, that's why we have to have an honesty about this team. And you know why? That's why I have some of the questions we have up here because you know I wanted to come on here today for the most part and just get your thoughts on the outlook of the team. But questions like this, they have to be brought up. But let's go on to our last few questions here. What is the key to winning this series versus the Toronto Raptors? What is the biggest key?
Okay, so for me, it's not Embiid because Embiid is doing his thing.
Hmm.
James Harden, he will do his thing. He will get a double double. That's not my big concern. The key to victory, I got two. Tobias, the bench. Maxi, I know will get his buckets. It says
Hmm.
Tobias. Says, he's not that good. I actually did a poll yesterday. It's like
Hmm.
it's Tobias ass, and I got like 90% yes. Out
Wow.
of like 40 votes or something like that.
Hmm.
So when you like Tobias got to step it up. The bench got to be like consistent, and
Hmm.
it's just like Doc Rivers. He's got to coach right. So that's three.
Yep.
One.
And I think that's spot on. I think the biggest key for us, not Embiid, not Harden. I'm not gonna be worried about that. Doc Rivers, you got to be on your A game. You gotta
Mm-hmm.
be. Nick Nurse is a genius at the head coaching spot.
He
He
is.
knows what it takes to win. He's won a championship. He's been in deep playoff runs. He knows what it takes in order to win at the highest level. Doc Rivers has also won a championship. We need 2008. We need that championship DNA from Doc Rivers to actually show. Because I don't know about how you feel, but they rank Doc Rivers as a top 15 coach. He's won a championship before, but in his time in Philly, he has done nothing to show for his resume. Nothing. If Doc Rivers, if you would have not told me his resume, if I would have just been blinded of his resume and not know anything about him, I would have thought he was just another Brett Brown. If I didn't know his accomplishments, I would have
Mm-hmm.
honestly thought he was another Brett Brown. So key number one, Doc Rivers, you gotta be on your top game. Key
Right.
number two, Tobias Harris, and I think you hit it spot on. And I don't want Tobias Harris to be out here dropping 30. I remember last year against the Wizards in game one, he had like a 30-point game.
Right.
I don't even want that because we have James Harden. I don't even want that, right?
Mm-hmm.
I want Tobias to just play his role. And that's why we were talking about him and his role earlier. Catch the ball, shoot it. Shoot it. Don't hesitate. Don't dribble around. If you are gonna dribble, get to your spot on the elbow or get to that little floater he likes doing now. Get it into the bucket. Get the ball in the bucket. Tobias has to be not perfect, but he has to be perfect in his role. Perfect in his role. Key number three, not necessarily the bench as just players, well, them too, but the bench rotation has to be good. The rotations. I can't have five bench players playing a playoff game. I cannot. I'm sorry, Doc. I know that's your way. That's how you do things. We can't have that. 8-man rotation, 9 men if injury or someone is struggling or in foul trouble. 9-man rotation at the most. We got the starting five. Other than the starting five, which should be Danny Green, by the way, Danny Green, Matisse. We already talked about that. Danny Green's going to be in the probably starting lineup, offensive wise. The bench needs to be at the most Shake Milton, Matisse Thybulle, DeAndre Jordan, and George Niang. That's the most bench players I can see. Four at the most. Sometimes Matisse Thybulle might, depending on if we don't need defense, sometimes Matisse Thybulle might have to take a game off. And that's when the 8-man rotation comes in. But
Right.
9 at the most. I cannot stress enough.
Yep. I
So,
can definitely agree with that. I can definitely agree with that. You nailed it spot on. But here's the thing with DeAndre Jordan, right?
mhm.
Like, do you think they're going to start hack a Jordan, hack a DeAndre?
Yes.
I
I
see
think
that
at
too.
certain points, especially when Embiid's getting those fourth quarter rests, that when
Mhm.
Embiid, he sits until the 7-minute mark, that's when the hack of Jordan might start. And that's when I think Doc Rivers has to kind of go out of his element and maybe have to run the small ball five with
Yep.
Niang because he
Not
can,
Paul Reed. I would
or
have had
Paul
Niang
Reed,
at the 4 and
someone who can
Paul
shoot free
Reed at
throws.
the 5.
Honestly, someone who can shoot free throws. That's all I want.
Yeah, exactly.
Because when
Exactly.
we're starting doing the hacker stuff, the hacker Ben last year annoyed the crap out of me. Every time I'm seeing it, I'm like, come on, guys, play fair.
Dude, you have
It's like,
no idea. Like game 5, I'm just gonna tell you this what happened. It was actually a true story. I was
mhm,
down the shore with my dad and his cousin, and we were just watching the game. And I tweeted, we were up by like 20 or 30, and
mhm,
I tweeted, "How's Ben Simmons doing, guys? How's Ben Simmons doing?" And
mhm,
everyone came flooded. I got attacked. It's like, dude, we're up by 30. We're up by 30. Who cares what Ben Simmons is doing? We lost the game. And the next day I came out, I gotta find the video once I do watch something here. But it's just like I called it. I'm like, guys, I know what I'm talking about. Ben Simmons is a whole freaking problem. I went on a rant.
mhm.
I was
Yep.
like, dude, just leave me be. I know what I'm talking about.
Hey man, yeah. So we got someone who can shoot free throws, man. So that's all I want. Paul Reed has honestly been a solid free throw shooter as well. He hasn't obviously shot them much, but we got to run small ball when it gets to Hacker Jordan because we can run a faster, more athletic lineup. But before I get to the final question, let's see what the comments have to say because I've seen some interesting comments. So obviously we have some troll comments, but one of my friends here says 76ers and 6, and that's going to lead to my next question. I can see that. We Mr. 89 says, "Sup fellas, Raps in 7 because Glenn Rivers is that bad. Not don't even call him Doc anymore. He doesn't even have a nickname
I
anymore."
can see that.
I
I
honestly
can see
could
that.
see that. I could.
I can see
Uh,
both.
he doesn't get called busy bias anymore. Big play slate. That was last. That was a last year thing.
People call him J. Cole more than Busy
Busy
Bias.
bias. Philly Mike. Shout out to Philly Mike. I think he's cool. He started the busy bias thing. He's the one who start.
I heard
Well,
it before he even said
you
that.
heard it. You did.
Yeah.
I
I
heard it
saw
from
it on
him.
Twitter.
Oh, it happened on Twitter first.
Yeah, I think I saw
Because
it on Twitter. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong,
mhm,
but I've been seeing Busy Bias like for a while now. I've been
really,
seeing
because
that ever since he was like on the Clippers and Magic.
oh well, I obviously I didn't care for Tobias there, but I heard it from Philly Mike, and then it's catchy, but I don't call him busy bias.
I call him Tobias.
Yeah, you call him that. I just call him Tobias because I don't know, bro. I don't even I have to. I feel like I have to like you to give you a nickname, even if you're bad. I have to like you to give you a nickname, and I just don't like Tobias enough to give him a nickname. So I don't
That's
call
why I
him
call
busy
him
bias.
Tobias.
Yeah, see, we don't call him busy bias. Other people do, but let's see. Iverson vlog says Sixers and 6. Okay, okay. We talked about this. We're not gonna have Thibault for 3 games, so
It's two, right?
or 2 games, right? 3 and 4. And if it
Three
does
and
go to
four
six,
away.
3 and 4
So
away,
if it goes to 6, that'll
mm-hmm,
be in Toronto. So I can see that in 3 if it goes to
mm-hmm,
6.
yeah,
But reality is if it's in 5, we won't have it for 3 and
two
4.
games.
That's it.
Yep.
That's it.
All right, so that leads to my final question of the day. That leads to my
Go for it.
final question of the day. Final prediction of the Sixers versus Raptors playoff series. Who's winning? How many games? Break it down in your opinion.
I was gonna make a video on this on Friday, but I'll
Okay.
give you guys a sneak peek. I'll just
Yeah.
tell you guys what I'm gonna
Not
say
too
right
much. Not
now.
too much. Y'all got to go
Nah.
watch this video to get the full breakdown.
Give me 6.
6.
I got
Okay.
6. I
And,
kind of want to say 7 because it's in Wells Fargo for Game 7,
mhm.
but I got 6.
Yep.
I really got 6. I think Embiid is too hard for them to guard.
Hmm.
James Harden, he's got to pick up the scoring, but if he can keep up the double double, I'm all okay with that.
Yep.
And Doc Rivers is the other thing. Like, yeah, I'm gonna break it
Mhm.
down later on in the
Yeah.
week.
Go, like I said, channel link in the description. Go watch his full breakdown. He'll talk about everything there. And make sure y'all support him. Sixers Eagles content. Question before I give my slight prediction, are you still in that big uploading streak?
I can't. I stopped that because I've been
Okay.
going. I kind of turned like you. Like
Okay.
I kind of been doing more live streams here and there. It
Mm-hmm.
helps my watch hours, and right now I'm almost at 2.7K. Like
Nice.
I'm getting there. Like
Mm-hmm.
I just started. I'm on a 2-day video streak.
Oh, okay.
Like if you count the dude, if you count the lives as
Mm-hmm.
videos or uploads, the streak will still be going.
Mm-hmm.
The streak will still be going.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I just say yes because it makes me look good.
Yeah.
But no videos, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just turning more into lives as of late. Like
Mm-hmm.
tomorrow, I got 2 lives. I got MK headlines. I have a Sixers
Mm-hmm.
writer, Austin Krell, coming on again. He's a
Nice.
great guy. And
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing the Brooklyn Nets and Cleveland Cavaliers game.
Oh, that's gonna be interesting. Y'all go
Yeah, I
because I'm
got
not
that
doing that
because a
game. Y'all go
lot of
check
the
them out.
creators are probably not going to do that, or they're probably
Mm-hmm.
going to do the Phillies, and you're probably going to do the Phillies tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, Tuesday. Yeah, I will be doing the Phillies. Yep.
Yeah, I'm going to try to do Phillies once a week
Mm-hmm.
because I'm not like that invested in the baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But when I watched it here on the stream, I was
Mm-hmm.
having fun. Like
Mm-hmm.
I was talking to people, I was
Mm-hmm.
having fun. It was great, even
Yep.
though they took out Gibson and almost blew it. But
Right.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was so mad. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, don't take him out. Use a complete shutout, and no one gives a damn about that anymore. Apparently.
Yes. But go check out his channel for his full breakdown and all that stuff. But my prediction for the series, and I'm gonna be making my full playoff prediction on my podcast on Friday as well. So I'm not gonna give
What
too much
podcast is that?
stocks. The Ben podcast, link in the description. Me and a couple of my friends, we post like once a week on the podcast
Oh,
channel.
nice.
So,
Okay. Okay.
yep. So we talk about not just Philly sports. We talk about like other stuff, other like all teams as well. So I have to
That's
go
what I
check
do
that
with
out.
me and Tyler Sports Set. That's
Yep.
basically what we do. Like
Hmm.
he's a baseball and soccer guy. I don't
Hmm.
pay attention to soccer at all.
Soccer,
But
yeah.
yeah, I'm into football, basketball, and hockey, I guess. But it's
Hmm.
just like
But yeah, so I'm gonna give my full playoff prediction on the podcast channel. So, but for the live stream, I'm gonna say Sixers and 6, and I think Joel Embiid is just that damn good. James Harden's gonna be effective. Those two alone, I think, are gonna be enough. But I think a guy like George Yang is gonna be the X factor in the series. He's gonna be the guy to step up outside of the starters, and I think that's how we're gonna win it. But I'm gonna give my full breakdown on Friday. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to end this live stream in a few minutes. But anything you like to say, shout yourself out. Tell them where to find you.
all right. But the Phillies are down 1-0 right now. The Mets just scored a run. But
Oh,
you guys enjoy. Oh, can you take this off real
uh-huh.
quick?
Hmm.
Can you take this banner off?
Yep. There you go.
Because I put my Twitter, everything
Hmm.
right here. So there's my Twitter and Instagram and YouTube right here. Mitch Kofsky, hashtag Road to 2K. The movement's real and stuff like that, man. The
Hmm.
grind is. I'm going live so many times now, like 2 or 3 times a day. Like it's insane.
Hmm. Yeah, y'all definitely go check him out, man. He's active on Twitter, active on YouTube, man. He's one of the best content creators, man. He knows what he's talking about. And like we said earlier, honesty is what we need, especially between Philly fans. I love all of my Philly fans, but sometimes y'all just don't be honest when it comes to our team. So
Dude, I gotta send you some TikToks, like
yeah,
or
you definitely
something.
do. You
Like they're
definitely do.
so freaking bad. Like
Yeah, it's
people
crazy.
are saying 6-4 nonstop. People are
Hmm.
like saying if we lose to the Pistons or something like that, I would do what the top comment says.
Hmm.
I think what was the biggest? Well, we lost to the Pistons the first time, and the
Yeah.
guy bought a Ben Simmons jersey.
Yeah, it was Don Step Sports. Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Do you watch him or?
I,
No?
I follow him, so whenever he pops up about For You page, I just
Yeah,
I
that's
go,
yeah. Me too.
yeah,
Me too.
yeah.
All
But
right. Yo, man, thanks for having me on, man. We got to
yes,
do this
sir.
again. Like,
Yes, sir.
I'm just going to say this right here, right now. You
Hmm.
know what you're talking about because I've been knowing so many content creators and they don't know what they're talking about. One of
Hmm.
them said that Ben Simmons is going to be the next MJ. One
Oh
of them said that
Jesus.
What did this guy say? Oh, this guy said that we're not going to get a better coach than Doc Rivers. We're going to
Mhm,
get, he's the third best thing that happened to us in 2 seasons.
mhm,
Draft Maxey, Doc Rivers, and James Harden.
mhm.
And I'm like, Doc Rivers, really? And we're going to have a live debate. I got to talk to him about that, but we're going to have a
Oh
live
man,
debate
I
on
can't
that.
wait for that one. Now
And
that
you
I
know
just
me,
heard
I
you,
go off. Like, I
yeah,
go off. Slay knows I go off on Slay every freaking day.
yeah, yeah.
But so it's like, but hey, how are your Lakers? Frank Vogel gone. But
Oof.
we kind of knew that was happening.
Mhm,
We kind of knew. Slay said
mhm.
Westbrook would, and they would get the finals.
Oh Jesus. Oh Lord.
Slay, and he said Daniel Jones is better than Jalen Hurts.
Oh, I was there for that one. I was
Dude,
there
I
for
was
that
there. I
one.
was like, man.
I just felt bad for him because all the Eagles fans kind of started attacking him. But
Oh, I still do it. I don't give a damn. I
oh yeah,
still
oh yeah.
freaking do it.
To this day, I talk to him about that. So
I tweet, I DM him, I do all this stuff. Slay, if you're in here, I
oh, he
guess.
is. He says your takes are crazy sometimes, Mitch.
What did I say? I was joking and saying Steven Nelson's better than Darius Slay. I was joking. I was like, yeah, Steven Nelson's better than Darius Slay. Yeah. Oh, let me ask you this real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Honey Badger, yes or no?
Ooh, yeah, let's do it.
You
Let's do it.
think we're gonna get him?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think we're gonna get him by tomorrow. Actually, I hear the talks heating up. I think we're gonna get him by tomorrow. So
I don't know. The Saints, bro.
the Saints might make a push, and that is gonna annoy me because we have had. You know, real quick before we get off, the Saints. I just don't like them, and it's not their fault that Alshon Jeffrey dropped the ball. But every time I think of the Saints, I think of that Alshon Jeffrey play. So if they steal this from us, bro, I'm gonna have a weird hatred towards the Saints. But shout out to everyone for stopping by, man. It's been fun. We got to do this again, man. Sixers, Eagles, and ladies and gentlemen, we're only a few weeks away from the NFL draft. So, I mean,
Yeah.
we talk about the draft next, and
And hold on.
Sixers playoffs
Shout
continue.
out to the Spotlight Sports Network. If you guys
Yeah.
haven't heard of them, please check it out. I'm partnering with them.
Mhm.
They basically do live play by plays. We do podcasts over there.
Mhm.
It's great. So shout out to them, man.
Yes,
Great
that's
people.
you've been partnered by them for a few months now, right? I've
A
seen
year.
a year now.
It's been a
Whoa,
year.
where does time go?
It's been over a
Yo,
year. Yeah.
I remember when y'all first
Mitch
announced that. That's
Brandon,
crazy.
Bruh.
April. I remember when y'all first announced that. That's crazy, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn, time
I mean,
flies.
for me, for YouTube,
Mhm.
I like doing my own stuff. Like I
Right.
love it.
Mhm.
But I gotta be a part of a team or something, man. I gotta
I
be a
feel
part
that.
of the people who love to grind, who love to work, and all this stuff.
I
So
feel that.
that's the main reason I joined them. Even though a lot of their takes are stupid, and I'm not gonna do that.
Hey, yes, sir. Yes, sir. But, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's gonna do it for us today. Make sure y'all go check him out. Like I said, y'all see all his ads. Y'all see his link in the description. Y'all already know what to do. Go show love over there. We're gonna be doing collabs again
Oh
soon.
yeah,
So
definite.
you know,
How about this? Me and
what's
you
up?
and Slay, we just pick on Slay for an hour.
Bro, that's perfect. I think I brought it up last year. I think it was one of your call-in shows, bro. We gotta have a segment of some type of podcast where we just roast Slay, bro. That's gonna be our next thing, bro.
Dude, you were there when AK and him were going at it.
Add it, bro.
And you
Yes.
were like, Mitch, I don't know how you do this, man. You
Yeah.
were like, how are you so quiet?
Yeah.
CC, I'll let you join that if the Bucks lose. How about that?
Yep, if the Bucks lose, Big Play Slay says I'm good. I got a plan, Mitch, that we can do with Big Play Slay.
DM me.
I'm gonna let both of you know in the Twitter DMs or something because it can be fun. But
Then
ladies and
CC, you
gentlemen,
can't join. Sorry.
oh yeah, LG. The Bucks can't lose, then no cheesy beef with us. Then no cheesy beef. The Bucks can't
All
lose. See,
right,
see.
man.
But
Bucks
appreciate
start.
y'all for stopping by, man. Let's go. And I
All right,
appreciate
guys.
y'all for
See you on my
supporting.
channel tomorrow. 2 live streams. Let's get it.
All right. And that is it, folks. We are out. Peace.